But when you have systems that are entrenched in systematic oppression and injustice, um, reforms around the edge that barely scratch the surface are not going to create the kind of positive outcome that you ultimately want, in keeping everyone safe and wanting, people to have full liberation and access to their constitutionally mandated right to life and liberty. And so, Minneapolis is one of those rare cities that has duty to intervene, as a policy for their police officers. And then you have the case with George Floyd, where 3 police officers failed to intervene in the killing of an innocent man who was no threat to the police or to the public for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And even the officer who took his life failed even at that duty to intervene, as he'd asked and begged for his life to be saved. And so, we I think for now understand that reforms in the way in which we used to think about them are no longer going to save lives in our city, and they are not going to save our communities, and they are not going to save our nation. And so there are many municipalities around the country that have police departments that need a little push in order to do better. But the Minneapolis Police Department, in my belief, isn't one of those. And so it is going to be really important for us to gut it and figure out how to rebuild a new policy and standard that will keep all of us safe, and will attend to the needs of the community when there is someone who's having a mental health crisis, when there is someone who is dealing with a substance abuse that risks their lives in the community, when we have, someone who just needs an extra support. And the way in which our system is set up right now isn't serving us, because we have paid so much money into a punitive system, and we have neglected to socially and economically care for the people in our community, and providing adequate education and healthcare and housing and mental health support and substance abuse support, in dealing with youth violence, and neglect. And so this is really a reckoning that we are having with the system as a community that does resonate with the rest of the country, because there is a mirroring community in every corner of the country, and that's why you see protests for the first time happening in all 50 states and across the country. I mean, across the world. And so you know that the issues that we have in Minneapolis are relatable, are understandable.
Yes.
And are translatable for everyone, regardless of where they live and what background they have. And that, I think, is when you understand that this movement is going to lead us to a moment of real transformative change, not just for our community, but for the country and the world.
These protests have happened in the smallest towns across this country. You say that the current police department in Minneapolis needs to be gutted. And that's a tough word. But there is, the city council agrees with you. It seems like most decent people agree with this. Can Minneapolis create a different idea, as you've been describing, of how if we were to deal with public safety, if we were to think of it in a different way, can Minneapolis perhaps become the example of that other communities can follow? Do you think Minneapolis can pull this off? It seems like a tall order, but it also seems like there's no place else to go but to make these changes, to do the gutting.
I believe so. I believe in our community. I believe in our ability to build systems that work for all of us. What I also know is that, people in the community are finally understanding many of the failures that the department has, and the ways in which it hasn't really lived up to performing its core functions. So Minneapolis Police Department fails to solve half of the homicide crimes in the city. We have had rape kits disappeared or destroyed. We have had, multiple police officers who, are accused of misuse of their powers, and the city and its citizens pay out millions of dollars every year to citizens who have been violated by the Minneapolis Police Department. And so when you think about how much money we are already spending in just the policing function that is not working, how much money we are spending in covering the citizens that have been harmed by the Minneapolis Police Department, and you think about the ways in which their credibility is not believed in the community, and the way in which so many other institutions within the community have lost trust, and got rid of the relationship that they have with the Minneapolis Police Department. It doesn't make any sense for the citizens of our city to be forced to continue to carry out this relationship. Almost every single other institution and corporation and entity has decided to end the relationship with the Minneapolis Police Department, and the city council is just following through in ending the relationship the city has with it.